Tonight, a Toronto stadium in the heart of Ford Nation could be renamed to commemorate the late Toronto mayor, Rob Ford.
He was good for the city, so I don't think it's a bad idea at all.
I think there are far better candidates to be naming a stadium after than Mr. Ford.
We'll take you to Etobicoke, where there's some mixed reaction.
He came out like flying out of the elevator and went right up the stairwell after the cops.
Plus, the Special Investigations Unit is probing a police-involved shooting in Newmarket. Officers were responding to a domestic violence call when things escalated, leaving a man shot dead by police.
It's a buzz we haven't had in this city for quite some time.
And the Toronto Blue Jays seem to be making their pitch to welcome Shohei Ohtani to the roster. A contract hasn't even been signed yet, but Jays fans are convinced the MLB phenom is coming to the Six. Good evening, I'm Ali Chiasson. We start tonight in Etobicoke, where renaming a stadium is proving a little controversial. Fitting when you consider who it could be named after, former Mayor Rob Ford. Our Olivia Bowden has reaction tonight.
Coaching football at Centennial Park was a passion for late Toronto Mayor Rob Ford. So much so that Councillor Paula Ainsley has put forward a motion to rename the Centennial Park Stadium after Ford, 7 years since his death. His motion reads, "The time is appropriate to consider renaming the Centennial Park Stadium the Rob Ford Stadium in recognition of his decade and a half of public service." Today, Mayor Olivia Chow's office says she'll support the motion, which isn't surprising.
Olivia Chow and the Ford family have a significant personal connection, and that goes back to the relationship between Olivia Chow's late husband, Jack Layton, and Rob Ford.
As Professor Meyer Semiatiki points out, Layton and Ford were friendly on council. And the gesture goes a long way for Chow's relationship with Premier Doug Ford.
If there's a political calculation here, on top of the personal piece, it's, let's do something that the Premier will appreciate.
But Rob Ford's time in office was chaotic, to say the least, making international headlines after a video circulated of him smoking crack cocaine. Councillor Josh Matlow isn't loving the idea of renaming the stadium. "I can think of many people, all of whom haven't been dishonest, misogynistic, homophobic, or caught smoking crack with gang members and disgraced our city, who would be more deserving. I cannot in good conscience support this motion." Over in Etobicoke, in the heart of Ford Nation, feelings are mixed.
Rob Ford was a good mayor, despise that he had his problems, but he was good for the city, so I don't think it's a bad idea at all.
I think there are far better candidates to be naming a stadium after than Mr. Ford.
The motion regarding the name change is on Council's agenda for next week. Chow's office declined to say why she's decided to support the motion. Olivia Bowden, CBC News, Toronto.
Well, it seemed like the entire city today was watching the Shohei Ohtani sweepstakes. Rumor has it that the baseball superstar is on the verge of signing a new contract with a new team any day now, and the Blue Jays are considered to be one of the front runners. Greg Ross has the latest on the hype.
For several hours today, this private jet flying from California to Toronto was the most tracked plane in the world, with many speculating that it could be Shohei Ohtani flying north to sign with the Blue Jays. Media and even some fans were there to greet it when it landed.
Well, this is the greatest moment in Canada sports. We got Ohtani coming in, and we tracked the plane all day long, and we made the trip, and my daughter and myself wanted to come out and see everything for Canada. It's going to be a great day.
It appears Ohtani was not on that plane, but still excitement was building around the city throughout the day at just the prospect of the Jays signing him.
It's a buzz we haven't had in this city for quite some time.
Tex Thomas owns Pro League Sports in the Beaches. He says if the Jays are able to sign a player of that magnitude, fans would be clamoring for merchandise.
We've already had phone calls today. If Ohtani signs, how quickly can we get jerseys turned around? Gentlemen said, I have 3 boys, we would need 3 jerseys.
And Thomas has already been on the phone to his supplier to find out how soon he could get those jerseys in his shop.
If we get confirmation that he's signed with the Jays today, we'll be able to have product in the store by Tuesday of next week.
Ohtani rumors were also flying around social media all day today, with many Blue Jay fans expressing their desire to see those rumors become reality.
Show, hey, show us what you gonna do.
Thaddeus Stewart, a Torontonian living in South Dakota, expressed his feelings about Ohtani through a song.
It was the end of the day, and I was feeling like I needed to be a little creative and just started writing.
Sign your name on the line. 500 mil.
I'll always claim that if he does sign with Toronto, that I was the reason why he came, because of this song.
So the latest word we're getting is that Shohei Ohtani did not travel to Toronto. What we're hearing is that he is still back at his home in California. And at this point, he has not made a decision on which team he is going to sign with. Greg Ross, CBC News, Toronto.
It is 7 degrees in Toronto right now. That's really mild, and it made for a lovely walk to work today for me. And with sounds of the season happening in the building too, I'm just hoping we can keep the warm fuzzies going weather-wise. Colette Kennedy, what have you got for us?
Yeah, Ali, just such a beautiful day, mild conditions, dry, just really nice for everyone who came down to Sounds of the Season, but just anyone to enjoy the day. But a few little problem areas where we do have some of that fog. It's patchy in nature, but where it has developed, it can be quite dense and take you off guard. So be aware, just kind of eastern GTA and then to the northeast. Daytime highs, Ottawa just couldn't get into the warm sector, but lots of double digits to be found in Toronto, up to 7 degrees. Windsor 10. Still a lot of that cloud cover. Now, the odd sunny break tomorrow, but also mild conditions. So wherever you're going to be dry, enjoy it, because there are really just some limited showers earlier in the day, kind of scattered in nature. And then more organized stuff in the afternoon starts to move into southwestern Ontario. But then really we see that in the evening and overnight around the GTA and eventually into eastern Ontario. So when it's not raining, I think you're going to enjoy these numbers. 5 overnight, nearly steady, and Ali, a high of 11 degrees. We know that's going to end. I'll talk about that when I come back.
Thanks, Colette. Now, the media got a tour of the Eglinton Crosstown LRT today, and we're also learning that it's likely going to be the summer at the earliest before the long-delayed transit line actually gets up and running. Queen's Park reporter Lorenda Redekop takes us on the tour.
At Yonge and Eglinton, the LRT almost looks ready for crowds of people. But so far, it's just test trains, a maximum 10 on the line at once.
The real test is these trains need to run at the right frequency every 3 to 5 minutes, get into the station, move to move the capacity of people we've got.
The testing is due to the tracks being laid wrong, off by millimeters. Adjustments are needed before trains full of people can run smoothly, with no risk of derailment. They're into phase 2 of that testing.
And then there will likely be a phase 3 when the weather improves next year at the at-grade section. So this will take place over a number of months.
How soon could that last phase start?
We clearly don't want snow on the ground. And the weather here in the winter months in January, February, March can be obviously inclement.
Add up the months, and summer is the earliest they can move on from testing, though they're still not committing to when the line will open.
We're not going to be drawn on a date. We're not going to guess which year it is. We're just going to focus on driving the program forward.
We are going down yet another level here.
The LRT is 20 meters below street level here, deeper underground than the Eglinton subway station. There is one impressive feature at the new station, a piece of art people will see going down the escalator. We heard about the challenges, water seeping in, now diverted under where people will walk. Another problem that caused delays here?
We encountered an unforeseen concrete wall. This concrete wall was 1 meter thick, it was reinforced, and nobody knew it was there until we uncovered it.
Years delayed, a track laid wrong. There have been calls for the CEO of Metrolinx to be fired. He says it was the fault of Crosslinx, or CTS, the consortium building the line. So was anyone fired?
There has been changes in the leadership on the CTS side.
Back at street level, drivers have been dealing with years of lane closures. The road construction is expected to be all opened up sometime next month. Lorenda Redekop, CBC News, Toronto.
To other news now. The Ontario Coroner's Office is calling for Soliman Fakiri's jail cell death to be deemed a homicide. Closing submissions were made today in the inquest into Fakiri's death back in 2016. Counsel for the coroner argued that it was, quote, a preventable tragedy. The jury will now begin deliberating. They're tasked with determining the manner of Fakiri's death. Now, if it's deemed a homicide, that doesn't necessarily mean automatic criminal charges. Police can choose to reopen their investigation, but they are not obligated to. Fakiri, who suffered from schizoaffective disorder, died at the Central East Correctional Centre in Lindsay, Ontario. No one was ever charged criminally in connection with his death. A verdict is expected early next week. The province's police watchdog is investigating a police-involved shooting. Officers were responding to a domestic disturbance last night at a home in Newmarket where they shot and killed a man. CBC's Patrick Swadden spoke with witnesses.
York Regional Police were called to this apartment complex in Newmarket around 10:15 p.m. last night, following reports of a domestic disturbance. This woman says she heard a couple fighting in a unit near her third-story apartment.
It just sounded like it was like one of those uneven fights where she was being kind of pushed around and crying and he was throwing his weight around.
She says the couple left the unit and were in the elevator with her as police made their way up to the stairwell.
He came out like flying out of the elevator and went right up the stairwell after the cops.
That's when she says she heard multiple gunshots.
There was an interaction between officers and the man was shot, and like I said, he was pronounced deceased at the scene.
Christy Dennett with the Special Investigations Unit confirming it was a York Regional Police officer who shot the man and that the watchdog has invoked its mandate to investigate. But she couldn't provide any more detail on what provoked the shooting.
The deceased was 37 years of age. There was also a female who was taken to hospital with not serious injuries as well.
The SIU won't provide the man's identity at this time or say whether or not he had a weapon. They are saying he did not live in the building himself, but did have a relationship with a woman who lived here. They're also saying that they've assigned 5 investigators to the case and 3 forensic investigators. Meanwhile, the incident itself has some residents shaken.
I knew it was, gunshots. So I never heard that in Canada. So kind of scary. I was with my daughter here.
Maria Felix says she's heard other shootings before from when she lived in Rio, but would never expect it in this neighborhood.
Family building, right? Kids here, live here, families. So we don't expect that to happen.
Dennett says the SIU is early in its investigation, but will be reviewing surveillance footage and conducting interviews with witnesses and officers who were on scene. Patrick Swadden, CBC News.
Welcome back. Food insecurity and the cost of living is on the rise, and now some community members are taking matters into their own hands. A Scarborough woman has created almost a grassroots food bank in her neighborhood with a community fridge to help her neighbors. Talia Ricci has that story.
All right, so this is the door that goes to the fridge.
Citra Suleiman noticed a need in her community and she wanted to do something about it.
And then here is the door for the pantry shelves. So.
She launched Community Food Hub. The goal is to decrease food insecurity and avoidable food waste by setting up outdoor community fridges and pantries across Scarborough.
But this is one way for it to be accessible 24/7.
So far, there are 2 locations, one at Malvern Resource Centre and this one at Progress Church, which just opened a few weeks ago.
Or we could tell based on when we stock the fridge and pantry that in the next day or 2 that a lot of the items are gone. So that shows us that there's a need.
The initiative relies on volunteers and community donations. Suleiman says it was also important to help people access culturally appropriate food in a dignified way.
There's no registration. You don't need to talk to us in order to use it. So you can go at any time and also take what you need and leave what you can.
And really a challenge for grassroots groups is operations.
East Scarborough Storefront helped bring Community Food Hub to life.
What we do really well here at Storefront is help to leverage opportunities for residents by enhancing the solutions that they're bringing. So immediately we began doing outreach for her.
The organization is passionate about helping people bring solutions to their own communities.
You're going to have 1, 2? How many super? 2.
It also has many other grassroots initiatives, including providing people in the area with homemade hot meals through a pickup window and by offering delivery.
It's important because of the dignified way to access the food. There's a lot of stigma around accessing food banks or food supports. Here we try our best to remove those stigmas, and it's being prepared by your neighbor with familiar ingredients.
East Scarborough Storefront is reaching out to the community for more donations.
We've already seen the need, and it isn't sustainable for just grassroots to be doing this work.
They say they've doubled the number of days they prepare and hand out meals since last year, and they're still forced to turn people away. Suleiman hopes to see more support to help her initiative continue to grow too.
Empowering other people to take this, to have this initiative in their local community as well.
Talia Ricci, CBC News, Toronto.
It is a balmy 7 degrees in Toronto tonight. It's really hard to believe that the holidays are just around the corner. And apparently we're in for another weather warm-up, right, Colette?
Yeah, I mean, it really doesn't seem like we are into December. Mild enough today, and nice when we had some sunshine in there too, but even milder tomorrow in terms of those temperatures that we will be reaching. So look out, more areas with double digits for the daily maximums, some scattered showers during the day, but then becoming more organized rainfall that will move in, and I'll show you kind of where and the timing on that. And then there will be a shot of cooler air behind this system, and we'll feel that kind of mostly into Monday, although we transition on Sunday. So there's some of the isolated showers in the morning hours, not much to it. A little more organized line coming into southwestern Ontario. I think mostly it will skim through here, but then you see it kind of getting its act together. And as that forms and moves through, we'll have some heavier amounts of rainfall in the Niagara region, but especially into eastern Ontario. And a lot of that is Saturday evening, overnight into early Sunday, then some sunshine early Sunday, but that will fill back in pretty quickly. And as those winds will then change from a southerly direction to northwest, we will get into some lake effect, and so a few areas, even towards the GTA at times, possible to see the odd isolated flurry coming into our skies. So really big changeover that we're going to be experiencing. So some of your rainfall numbers here, see how limited it is into southwestern Ontario, up towards Cottage Country, Georgian Bay. But you're picking up a little more. And in fact, in the Niagara region, we could see that up closer to 10 to 15 millimeters and seeing these numbers potentially going from 10 to 20 millimeters into eastern Ontario. The overnight temperatures very mild, again, with the exception of our nation's capital that can't just quite get that warm air there. It will come. You got to wait another day for that. 11 degrees so for Toronto tomorrow, and then Sunday we start to come down. So warmer early in the day, then it'll be later in the day, down to 0 overnight. Monday 1 with a few flurries, and then we're going to kind of rebound, Ali, and we get essentially back to seasonal conditions again.
Thanks, Colette. It was sounds of the season today at CBC Toronto. Metro Morning kicked things off with a holiday special in front of a live studio audience at the Glenn Gould Studio. The annual fundraiser, which runs all month, is in support of local food banks. If you missed out on the fun, don't worry. We captured some of the highlights for you.
Why is it so important for you to be down here this morning and hanging us with here at Sounds of the Season?
It's important to support the CBC. And support the time of year and the food bank.
It's a great cause for the food bank, more than ever. Everybody knows the story.
And it's a great way of building community as well. I think that's really critical.
For people to come together, whether it's kids coming together, everybody coming together with that common cause, saying it's a desperate situation right now, but when we come together, there can be hope and community.
What's your favorite part of the event when you come down? What do you like to do, or what do you like to see the most?
Just the whole scene's kind of cool. And the live, the live music that you have, the live performers that you bring in for the day too, it's always very nice.
It's Friday, December 8th. I'm David Common. Welcome to a special edition of Metro Morning, live from the Glenn Gould Studio. It's Sounds of the Season on CBC Radio.
Something about the way your love.
The security, the agency that being able to do something about truly empty cupboards provides. that is a powerfully difficult experience. And having some choice, some option, means more than is easy to articulate.
It's really nice. I can really appreciate helping out the community. We usually do other concerts and stuff, which is more fundraising for the choir, but this is also really nice because we can help out other people.
Playing Sounds of the Season is incredible. It was we're very honored to be asked to do it and very happy to help out a good cause.
Who's having fun? What's your favorite part been so far?
To dance.
You got to dance. I love to dance.
You know, we've got a young man at the front here who's got a very specific favorite part. What's your favorite part of the day been so far, sir? What's your favorite part?
Pig.
What's that?
The Peppa Pig.
Peppa Pig's been, he's with you on that.
You and me, high fives. Peppa Pig was the best.
Why don't we read this one? It's called So Much Snow.
Let's make some noise for Bollywood and their stars who've joined us here today.
Thanks for having us, first of all. We're so excited to be here for such an amazing event. Thank you, CBC, for having us.
I've been doing this for 12 or 13 years, so yeah. So it's a fun experience.
For people at home who have not had a chance to come down to a Sounds of the Season before, don't know what's so fun about it, what do you like about it?
It's alive, it's vibrant, you know? It just gets your energy going. It's a lot of fun.
So far, we've raised more than $590,000. Wow. If you would like to donate to the Sounds of the Season campaign, there's still lots of time. It runs until the end of December. For more details, you can head to our website at cbc.ca/SOTS. And finally, tonight, a tradition known as the Festival of Light is underway in France. The spectacular display combines art, technology, and history. The festival originated in the 19th century and started as a simple display of candles on windowsills. Organizers expect more than 2 million visitors before the 4-day event ends on Sunday. That's it for us tonight. That's our show. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great weekend, everybody.